please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
The Nikkei is down close to around 0.3%. The dollar yen is holding at around that 110.3 odd mark.
We are trying to conduct monetary policy in a way that will sustain that expansion, keep the labor market strong.
If there's a dip today from the highs, in that case, whether that gets bought or not, the bank Nifty, of course, has weekly expiry, so that will be quite volatile. 32 points in the red, 10,825 is what we have on the Nifty. That's the first port of call. The Sensex is opening flat.
We believe quality mid-caps will start bottoming out over next 30-40 days.
Today marks another milestone for this poster boy of Indian IT, the 25th year of listing.
Even if this company grows at 15-16%, it will deliver stunning value for shareholders, as it has done for the last 25 years.
डिज़ाइन और सारी उसके लिए और पूरी प्लानिंग के लिए काम कर रही है। हम विश्वास करते हैं कि इस वर्ष, जैसे मैंने बोला भी था, कि 2018 के लास्ट तक में हम लोग करेंगे।
Infosys has to continue that to be confident about its values, about its ability to create value for shareholders.
Consortium of lenders of this company called Everest Kanto have moved towards conducting a forensic audit in the balance sheet of the company.
We're off the lows actually. It's 10,794 on the Nifty, 35,553 on the Sensex.
Okay, interesting day. You'll have to say it's down but not out. That's been the verdict so far. Let's see. Crucial hours are coming up, most importantly because it's the weekly options expiry on the bank Nifty. This is Closing Bell. I am Anuj. With me is Surabhi. Hi Surabhi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anuj. Unless you had the foresight of buying exactly at that dip, perhaps or selling at that dip, I guess you've been caught both ways, right? I mean, if you were selling in the morning, you're wondering now what to do with those positions. Stocks like Reliance are bouncing back. So what do you think of the day?
And not surprising, Surabhi. The point we made in the morning as well, this is a market which is trapping you on both sides for last many days now. And today also, as you said, now what defines the dip? You opened 40 point lower. After that, you kept getting lowers. At one point, we're down about 80 points. So, as you said, could someone have bought right at that absolute dip? All over the place, really. Short point is this is a market which is not having a breakdown or a breakout. This is a market which is still stuck in a range, and you'll have to play it like that. And there are a lot of stocks which are batting for the bulls. Reliance, of course, really stands out. Pharma, once again, has seen quite a bit of buying. I think periodically you keep seeing buying in a couple of other influential names like HDFC Bank today. I know it's weekly options expiry, so sometimes you see that kind of move in HDFC Bank. Kotak has been a strong stock. IndusInd has been a strong stock. So periodically there's a bit of buying. Also, what's interesting is today the mid-caps are doing reverse of what they did yesterday. Yesterday through the day the mid-cap index was going down. So periodically there's a bit of buying. Also, what's interesting is today the mid-caps are doing reverse of what they did yesterday. Yesterday through the day the mid-cap index was going down and the advanced decline was deteriorating. Today, through the day, especially post-noon, it's been a bit of an improvement that you've seen in the mid-cap. So a really volatile market. Last hour coming up, I think could be quite interesting.
Absolutely. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Let's get started straight away. Here's what's lined up for you on the show. We, of course, get chatting ahead of the Nifty Bank weekly options expiry. One of India's biggest traders, PR Sundar, will be joining in to discuss his key trading strategies and how he's approaching the F&O space. From the mutual fund universe, Harish Krishnan, Senior Vice President and Equity Fund Manager at Kotak Mutual Fund, is going to be joining in. He manages two of Kotak's key funds, so we'll get his sense on the market. And of course, we also discuss fundamentals with Mr. S.P. Tulsian of sptulsian.com, as well as market expert Prakash Diwan. Kunj Bansal will also be joining in for the same. And as always, technical calls coming up with both Ashwini Gujral and Mitesh Thakkar.
Okay, in fact, let's start the show then with Ashwini and Mitesh for last hour calls. Good afternoon. Ashwini, been very volatile, perhaps the way this year has been shaping out. What's the call now at these levels, especially for last hour, considering that we have the weekly options expiry as well?
See, out of, all the sectors, hardly two sectors are positive. Yes, we couldn't go below 10,780. But it's not like the market is roaring on the upside. So I would think probably the decline will need another day. That's about it. If you take out these large stocks, Reliance, etc., then the market is not feeling very good. But for the last hour, I think you should be long on individual stocks, and that should take you up. I think escorts is just about breaking out. So that is where, fresh trade can be taken right now. But other than that, I think Kotak is trying to push on the upside. That is a buy with a stop of 1320, target of 1355. RIL is a buy with a stop of 990, target of 1025. And Jubilant Food is a buy with a stop of 2700, target of 2765. Basically, stocks which are at new highs continue to find buying at lower levels. But today, IT has had a fairly bad day. So maybe some recovery happens out there as well.
Just looking at the last 10 sessions on RIL, barring one red dip, you've got 9 straight days of buying, 9 to 10 straight days of buying on this stock. There's just one day when it had a negative close. It's been a phenomenal story last few sessions for Reliance Industries and 1000 plus now. Okay, let's bring in Mitesh into the conversation as well. Good afternoon, Mitesh. Again, on the index, I don't think anybody's getting any traction, neither bulls nor bears. How are you looking at things, and of course, individual stock ideas?
Yeah. Good afternoon. So I think, we were looking at 10,780 and 26,500 as some kind of support zones, given the fact that that's where the intraday averages were converging. So I think that's kind of held on. I would still believe that, we will turn weak in case we start breaking below today's low. So in that sense, today's low for both the indices, the Bank Nifty and the Nifty, are very, very important. For the timing, otherwise it looks like a market which will just chop around. Let's not forget that today we had a gap down and we have not made no attempt to fill the gap. So in that sense, the upper end, also becomes an important pivot point to monitor. And my sense is that eventually after 1-2 days of chopping around, there's a slightly more danger of breaking down below today's low, which could suggest some kind of bearishness. So for the timing, I think, we have reduced our long exposure. We have also explored some kind of shorting opportunities. Right now, I have one buy and one sell call. PNB is a buy with a stop below 89 for targets of 96, while R Power is giving sell signals on the daily and the intraday chart. So sell with a stop at 35.5, look for declines to about 32.5, 32 levels.
Okay, by the way, the stocks that are surging now, once again, the mid-cap pharma stocks, just pull out the intraday chart of 3 stocks. Let's begin with Ajanta Pharma. Look at the move on that stock right now. Again, a stock with perhaps a lot of short positions. So Ajanta Pharma making a big move. Stride Shasun is the other one which is having a big move. Just see the chart on that one. That's Stride Shasun. And look at Wockhart's intraday chart as well. That one also right now seeing a big move that one up about almost 4%. Ashwini, you're making this point that right now it's a blanket buy. Still is, you think, for some of these stocks?
See, it's a classic momentum move where you had one day of downside and immediately buyers came back. So if, the previous 3-4 sessions had not confirmed it, I think at least today's action tells you that people are ready to buy it the moment there is a bit of decline. And the only reason they want to buy it is because even if it does not make money in the long term, at least it will keep you safe in this market, because this is the only place where buyers are ready.
Well, let's bring in our fundamental experts into the conversation as well, Mr. S.P. Tulsian of sptulsian.com, as well as Prakash Diwan. Mr. Tulsian, I'll extend the pharma question to you because, now it's a little difficult because I don't think there's any pharma stock that's remaining, including the likes of Wockhardt, that's remained untouched with this sort of a rally. Once again, beyond the frontline space, if you're looking at mid-cap pharma, then which are the relatively safe stocks that you can perhaps go with now?
See, I think one has to still wait for taking a call on the mid-cap pharma and across the board on all the pharma stocks. But still, since you have asked me this question, two stocks comes to my mind. One could be Alembic Pharma and second is Torrent Pharma, because both are not seen having participated much in the rally. Maybe Alembic Pharma, yes, but Torrent Pharma is again, looking to the business model, looking to the earning prospects and all that can be looked into. But my point here is that it is better to take the proven and having the lower valuations, maybe in the front line also like Aurobindo Pharma, Glenmark. And if you want to play on the story, what we have seen the value, creation happening in the stocks like Sun Pharma on the news of US FDA, then Wockhardt can be looked into.
Oh yes, in fact, pull out the chart of Torrent Pharma, since Mr. Tulsian, spoke about it. And it will be interesting if we can just pull out a slightly longer chart of Torrent Pharma, because when that big bull market was on, after that it didn't really correct at all, and when that big correction happened along with all the pharma names, that one corrected, and now I think it's actually pretty close to getting back to its highs rather than lows. So this has been, of course, a strong stock in the pharma space, and right now getting even stronger. Divi's as well, by the way, today has made a big move. Prakash Diwan is also with us. Prakash, good afternoon. So your thoughts on pharma, which ones are you still buying?
I think Torrent happens to be one of the very insulated plays,
Yes.
nothing much from the US side, no negative headwinds. So it will probably, come of age in terms of the rest of them getting recalibrated. But if I had to go and pick out, I would definitely have two choices. One is Biocon for sure. I find that to be in a very different orbit of its own. And amongst the smaller ones, heed the toe, under-discovered names, go back to Loris Labs, though it's moved up for a while since we first spoke about it in one of the shows. But I think it still holds a lot of value going forward.
Okay, one more stock that's been on the radar this week for sure is Bandhan Bank. Very, very smart moves now. It's 555 on the screen, 3.5%. This week it's put on almost 10-11%. Let's pull up maybe a 1-week chart or a longer 3-month chart as well, since the listing will get some idea. Stock has been doing exceedingly well. Mr. Tulsian, Bandhan Bank at current prices, more upside ahead, would you say?
See, Surbi, I was not convinced with the valuations at maybe 475, 500 also, because purely going on the price to book multiples, it seemed very expensive, and sometimes I wonder that why one should really be buying it, because when you have your book of 86, 87% in the microfinance and you are growing in that space, in the non-microfinance, which will be at a very gradual pace. So I don't understand these kind of valuations, honestly, if you really ask me. So definitely, as I said, that if I was not convinced at 500, I won't be taking a call at 555.
Okay, fair enough. Look at Aurobindo Pharma, by the way, 4.5% higher is what you have on Aurobindo Pharma right now. Index stock, of course. A couple of other stocks making a bit of a move. Let's just pull out the intraday chart of PC Jewelers on the way down, that is today, from the high point. That one is slipping once again. So just be a bit careful about some of these names. Infosys, I know it's ex-dividend, but even then, even taking the dividend part into account, if you're looking at only the futures plate, it's now making fresh intraday lows. So that's interesting. And HDFC, not HDFC Bank, HDFC has been a bit weak. So that one right now is seeing a bit of a decline. We'll do one thing. We'll take a break now. Up next, we have PR Sundar, who is one of the big option traders, who will tell us his trading style, strategies, and how you should approach, especially the weekly option expiry days on Bank Nifty. That discussion on the other side.
Welcome back. So we've been discussing the pressure on a stock like Infosys. Check out Wipro now. There's a surge of buying that's coming in. Stock is trying to break through to the positive side of the screen. Interesting on Wipro there. Let's pull up TCS and see if actually buying in TCS as well. So a lot of the IT stocks are finding buying at the lower levels. Let's pull up TCS, and Infosys is not having that much luck because of the dividend issue, I guess. Infosys is still down quite a bit, but buying on the others. Mr. Tulsian, your thoughts on Infosys at current prices? Should dips be bought in the stock?
No, I think it's prudent because the kind of run-up which we have seen in all the IT stocks, whether you talk of Mindtree, TCS, Infosys, I don't think that this is the right time. Maybe, one can wait for the couple of days, allow them to correct by about 3-4%. I agree that Infosys is weak today because of the ex-dividend factor. But the weakness or the profit booking is seen happening in other stocks. Probably the shift may be seen happening from IT to pharma, again, seen to be the turnaround story having discovered. So taking that into consideration, I won't be taking the buy call on any of the IT stocks at the current level.
Okay. By the way, just pull out the intraday chart of the most volatile stock, which is CG Power. Just see the chart. Looking quite interesting now. Mr. Tulsian, I know you've had a positive view on the stock in the past, but at current levels, you think it's discounted all the negative news?
Anuj, it looks like, because I have said that two, three events have happened. One is that Hungary sale, which they have concluded. The company is going to receive 250 crore in next 1 month or so, or maybe in the next 15-20 days. And once that happens, that will be seen quite positive, number one. Number two, the company has decided to take a call on the Ireland and the other European subsidiary, which have turned profitable, not to monetize them. So the losses, the exceptional losses and losses from discontinued operations to the extent of 1200 crore, which we have seen in FY18, was really a bombshell, which did not like by the market, and majority of that has come in Q4. But going forward, it seems that the things are not seen happening, likely to happen in that way, and I don't think that for whole of FY19 the discontinued operations will, or maybe the exceptional losses is going to be more. Think that for whole of FY19 the discontinued operations will, or maybe the exceptional losses is going to be more than 150 crore against 1200 crore. And apart from that, their Thailand this transformer unit is doing quite well. Domestic operations are seen doing quite well. In fact, they have all been receiving the railway orders. So combination of all these things can really be seen quite positive for the company going forward. And one or two technical factors, which have really played, which has really made the stock to correct. One is that increase in the F&O, and secondly the cash settlement, because this stock also falls in the on the security settlement instead of cash settlement on the expiry day, probably are the reasons. So I think that stock is seen to have bottomed out, and if one can keep a view of about 12 to 18 months, I think this will really be a very good stock to give good returns from here on.
Okay, all right, Mr. Tulsian, we'll leave it on that note for today then. Thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts on all the stocks that we have discussed. Well, from fundamentals, let's just shift focus to all the action in the futures and options market. And Anuj, we have a special guest today for that.
Oh, yes. In fact, we have one of the top traders, PR Sundar, now joining us on the show today. Sundar, hi, good afternoon. Sundar, of course, hails from Chennai. He used to be a teacher and now full-time trader. And if you've seen his worksheet, which he puts out almost on a daily basis, he's been making a lot of money. These mainly in options on Nifty and Nifty Bank, and mainly on the sell side because closer to expiry, because you have to take the other side. I just want to tell our viewers that what we're doing right now is just trying to tell you that it's while it's a tough game, it can be mastered, and but you will need a lot of discipline to master this. Of course, Sundar has been doing for some time now. Sundar, hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For our viewers, first tell us the basic strategy of option trading, because we see a lot of people buying option at 3 rupees, 4 rupees, hoping that they'll become 50, 60, and they end up being zero. So what is the basic strategy?
Okay, generally people say option buying is a gambling and option selling is like running a casino. So as you have mentioned very clearly, running casino is not for very small people, and it has got its own risk also. And what normally we do, we based on our fundamental analysis and technical analysis, we decide a range and we sell a put option and a call option. Say for example, what I did yesterday, I sold 26,500 put option and 26,800 call option. I collected a premium of about 140 rupees. And today, both are likely to go to zero. But Bank Nifty tend to make a violent move after 3 p.m. So whatever we do, we just keep doing from morning 9:15 to 3 o'clock. Then after 3 o'clock, we just put a stop loss for all our positions, and we just wait. Okay, and then like sometimes once the trend is very clear, even after 3 p.m. also we tend to make some positions.
Okay, so for example, let's just pull out some of these call options, 26,000, or rather let's pull out the put options, because today we started on the way down the market, and we have 26,200, 300, 400, 500 puts. They've all sort of become zero. Now the issue here is if you would have sold these options at, say, at the start, 14 rupees on 26,200, 22 rupees on 26,200, they've all become pretty close to zero. But it's easier to see this in hindsight now, Sundar, right?
Yeah, right.
There's always a risk that it goes completely against you. And when you're selling an option, the risk is unlimited. So how do you mitigate that risk in that case? And how should a retail trader mitigate that risk?
Yeah, see, generally what happens, option buyers are lured by the people by saying that it has got limited risk and then limited margin money, and then very high reward. So let us say if all three factors are favoring the option buyer, logically speaking, everybody should be on the buy side.
Exactly.
But the fact is that most of the people hide the fourth dimension, the probability of winning. So if option buying is a limited risk and limited money and unlimited reward, you can go and buy a lottery ticket. You just buy for 10 rupees, you can get even 1 crore. And although they say it's unlimited profit, in option buying, like sometimes you buy for 10 rupees, it becomes 20 rupees or 30 rupees or maximum 50, 100 rupees, not more than 10 times. But most of the time they tend to go to zero. But option seller, okay, he has to manage his risk very well. And most of the time, option sellers are the institutions and HNI clients, and they know how to manage the risk very well.
So, for example, for today's trade, of course, now there's not too much time left for weekly options expiry. If, in the morning you sold the put options, right?
Yes.
But if the market would have had a trend day, in that case, how would you have sort of hedged yourself in that case?
And see, that is, you said, how you would have done the hedging, right? The most important thing for all the option sellers is a facility for hedging. Option buyer cannot do the hedging. Either you can put a stop loss, you can come out, or you lose your entire capital. But what happens, you sell the put option, and if you feel that the market is really going down, you can continue to sell call options. Right? So when the market goes down, you sell call option. When the market goes up, you sell put options. So you manage like that. At some point of time, being the expiry day, the theta decay will be very fast.
Okay.
Right? And then, at some point of time, you also keep certain stop loss in your mind.
Okay. So, before the show started, you showed me I think, sold 26,700 call for today.
Yes.
What was the premium that at which you sold that call?
I sold 26,700 call at 30 rupees, 26,800 call at 10 rupees,
okay,
and 26,400 just 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before I showed you, I sold it at 8 rupees around. Now trading around 1 rupee 50 paise.
Okay.
And then 26,300 around 4-5 rupees, and 26,200 around 4 rupees, and so on.
Okay. And again, once again, for people listening in here, you will require a lot of margin, though. It's not a game for everyone. You will need a lot of margin. For those who don't have the margin, in that case, this game is not for them, right?
Yeah, true. But the thing is, since it is an intraday trade, and a lot of brokers will be offering a good amount of leverage. Say my broker offers me about 10 times leverage. So if I got 1 crore money in my account, and he gives me 10 crore, and with that 10 crore, I can just sell a lot of put option, call options, and far away 2 rupees, 3 rupees, and at the end of the day, I make 2% of my capital. Right? So if you are making 2% per day, in 4 expiries, you make 8%. 8% per month, for an HNI client like me, it's a very huge money.
Okay. So again, for our retail viewers, Sundar, tell us what should be the mistakes that you should be avoiding in option trading.
And see, option buying is like it is a hero or zero game.
Yes.
Right? And most of the time, the people do not realize that. Say, for example,
for example, on 31st May, if you were selling call options, market would have taken you cleaners, right? Because you had that 700-point intraday rally. So how do you hedge that? Because for any stop loss, that would get triggered.
Okay. See, that's number one. You're asking me, those who have sold call option would have lost heavily. But the same question I'm asking, what would have happened to all those who bought the put options? And everything is, even deep in the money put options, but where it became zero. So it's a 50-50%. Right? And like once in a while, I always say, like somebody is coming into my casino, is winning a big prize money. It's always good. Only that motivates those people to come and again lose.
So once again, for indices, you mainly sell options, but for stocks, it would be prudent to buy instead of selling options?
Yeah, generally people who are selling options, the institutions and HNI clients, they do huge volume. Sometimes, the stocks may not take the kind of volume that we do. That's number one. And second thing, option seller always wish that, the market is range bound so that he can make profit. But sometimes, stocks can tend to move violently. And in fact, you mentioned on May 31st, and that violent move came because of the news about HDFC Bank. So sometimes stocks tend to move, so it's better to avoid.
Okay, finally then, for this expiry, is there any last trade that you think is still doable?
Yeah, now it's almost 3 o'clock. Now from now, the weighted average take place, right? And usually 3 to 3:30, there can be a violent move. And if there is any move, I expect it on the higher side rather than on the lower side.
On the higher side, you said,
yes,
is a possibility. All right, Sundar, thanks a lot for joining us. What we'll try to do is perhaps one of the days we'll try to get Sundar in the morning to take those trades and then see by afternoon if those trades are working or not. But we'll do that. And once again, a disclaimer here. If you're taking options trades, in that case the risk is high if you're not hedging yourself properly. So do your risk reward arithmetic and do consult your financial advisor. We'll take a break and of course be back with the BTST calls.